Okay, it's time to rebuild the oil pump from the car. I've got all of the components here from the car. I'm going to do a quick inspection and tear down. I've also got some replacement parts. I bought the milling kit for rebuild. This is a K55 kit. I've also got the bushing that holds the drive shaft and the to the pump drive. The other thing I've got is some mineral spirits and a 7/16 inch socket or 11 millimeters. I got a 3/8 inch drive just to be able to get on this from how close the castings are to the bolts. So let's initial inspection. Basically just dirt covered. Just a visual inspection. I don't see anything wrong with that drive shaft. I'll stick it in to mineral spirits and see if I see anything else as a result of that. The bolt that holds it into the block, I'll also put that into mineral spirits as well. Okay, see if I can get this apart. Yep, not too bad. All right. So there's the cover. That doesn't look too bad. I'll finish this up a little bit with I'll run a piece of sandpaper or my honing block over this just to see if there's any leakage around the outside. It doesn't look like there will be because of the pattern on this. Let me see if I can get a better view of this so you can see it. So there is wear from the gears on the inside, so I want to take a little bit of that off. But from the outside, looks like everything else is okay. Now for the gears internally, they're all spinning fine. On the again initial inspection, so the gears are spinning. Initial inspection shows that there aren't any. Don't look like there's any leak paths on this at this point. So I'm just going to pull the gear out. Take the bushing off first. Maybe that's not all right. In order to get the bushing off, I just snipped it and popped it off like that. Okay. Now the gear should come right out. So there's the gear. Here is the other gear. That should come right out too. Come on. It's oily. There it goes. Okay. So both these gears are going to be trashed or made into art. All right, let's take a look at the inside real quick here. I don't see any scrapes or scratches on the bores here. That's good. All right. I think we're all right with that. I'll clean that off also in the mineral spirits. I'll do that separately. I don't want to scratch any of the bores in there. All right, here's the drive shaft. I don't see any issues on this at all. There's a couple witness marks, but nothing that is out of the ordinary. The tang looks good. I did soak it in the mineral spirits, but then I also used some 4 zeros steel wool just to clean it off. So I think we're okay with this. I'm going to put it over on my clean pad there. All right, so there's one thing I am going to do, a minor modification on this. I'm trying to show it here. There's an intersection of 2 drilled holes, essentially. The one that goes perpendicular to the cover itself, and the one that's basically a drill through for the pickup tube. And at that intersection, and if I can get the right light source on this, it's really hard to see. There is a very, very sharp edge right in there. And that fluid doesn't like to go at right angles. What I'm going to do is put a little bit of a radius on that. There's a little bit of a couple burrs on there too. That'll interrupt the fluid flow. And you know, oil's pretty viscous, but it will interrupt the fluid flow and potentially cause some bubbling or cavitation coming up in. So just gonna deburr that with or round it off with a Dremel tool. All right, so maybe you can see it, maybe not. There's a little bit of a silver there. I basically elongated it a little bit. You can see that looks more like a kernel of corn. Anyways, it's been rounded off and deburred. All right, I cleaned this off a little bit with some sandpaper. What I'm going to do now is, and you can see that there are some imperfections. It's been that way forever, and I can still see some of the machining marks. So I basically just cleaned it up a little bit. I've got a honing stone. I've put some mineral spirits on it, and the intent is I'm going to just go across it until I've gotten rid of some of these. These aren't witness marks at all. These are basically leak paths during the pumping process. So I'm just going to try to get rid of that. Okay, I've got all the tools and components assembled here. The milling kit includes both of the gears. There's also some springs and drift pins that they have in their instructions. They say use the green spring for the year car that I have. There's also some drift pins. I'm not going to mess around with that. I'm just going to put it together with the gears and be done with that. I've got Loctite for the 4 bolts, and I've got assembly lube that I'm going to be using as I'm putting the gearing together. So I'm going to start with the body, and first I'm going to insert the main drive there. Before I do that, I'm going to put some assembly lube on it. And on the bottom side. And then insert into the hole. There, that's a better view. Okay, so that's in. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the gear that does not have a shaft on it. I wish I knew what the right terminology was for that. There does not seem to be any side difference between these two. They have the same machinings on both ends for that one. So I'm going to get that lined up and inserted. Then I'm going to put some assembly lube all around it and just spin it around. All right, listen to the sound. All right, good. Now I'm going to put the cover on. It goes like this. I'm just going to temporarily install a couple of bolts so that they're held in place. By the way, as I was cleaning this tube here, I made sure that I flushed mineral spirits throughout the tube to flush out any sort of contaminants that were inside the tube or anything that I generated from doing some of the sanding. All right, next I'm gonna put a little bit of Loctite on the threads here. This comes out pretty quickly. All right, that's good. Just roll it around a little bit. Insert it, spin it in, and then tighten it up. Okay. Do the same thing for the other side. I'm just doing hand tight. It was not very tight, or very tight when I removed the bolts. I'll look up the spec real quickly before all this stuff sets, and then torque it appropriately. Okay, and then the last one here. I also checked the flatness of the cover using a straight edge, and it looked really good. All right, let me look up the torque spec real quickly, and I will finish it up. Okay, the torque spec is 80 inch-pounds, which comes out to about 7 foot-pounds. Yeah, that one's really tight, that bolt. Tight to the housing. There's 7 foot-pounds, so I wasn't too far off. All right, come back to that one. There's 7. Okay, so I was right on with basically the hand tight. Okay, that's it. Done with that. Now, the remaining part here is the coupling. So I've got the tang goes in this way, and there's a nice rib on the inside of the bushing, so that when it goes in, it holds them in place. So let me get that on, and well, maybe I should have done it the other way. There, now it's in. All right. Okay, so the shaft is on. Next thing to do is to bolt it to the engine, bottom of the engine, and we're going to be going 60 to 65 foot-pounds to put that in. All right, before you do install this into the engine, you want to prime the pump a little bit, get some oil into it, and basically just, I'm going to spin this, and you can see I got oil coming out of the top here. So I've primed the pump, and that's it for now. Okay, so once the pump is oiled and primed, we are inserting this in the hole, lining it up with the pins. Pressing it down in place. I'm going to oil the bolt. It's got to be torqued to 60 to 65 foot-pounds. Oiled. I'm going to need an extension for my... I got to go get an extension. Okay, and this is a 5/8 inch socket. There is 65. Torque check. There we go. Good to go.